The stars hung silent in the black sky, endless and cold. For days, no ship had passed this part of space, nothing but dead silence, until a broken voice crackled through the void. "Please, someone, anyone, help us. They are coming." The boo signal was weak, almost swallowed by static, but it carried fear, pure and raw. The kind of fear that spread chills even through machines. On the bridge of a lone human warship, the crew exchanged uneasy glances. "Captain, signal detected," reported the communications officer. His voice trembled. "Coordinates show an abandoned colony far from any major route." The captain, a tall man with steel-grey eyes, leaned forward in his chair. He listened carefully as the message repeated. The desperation in the alien's voice was undeniable. "They are coming. Please help. We cannot hold." Then silence. One of the officers shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, no one answers signals like this. Not out here. It could be a trap." The captain didn't blink. It could also be real. People, no, lives are at stake. The helmsman frowned. "Even if it's real, we're one ship. What can we do against an unknown threat?" The captain stood slowly, his hands clasped, behind his back. His voice was calm, but carried weight. "We don't ask if we can. We answer because no one else will." The crew fell silent. They all knew what it meant. Heading to those coordinates was dangerous. It could be suicide. Yet, not one of them spoke against the captain again. Orders were given, engines roared, and the warship shifted its course into the unknown. The journey was tense. Space stretched empty in all directions, but the crew felt the weight of invisible eyes on them. Every beep of the console sounded louder than usual. "Still no sign of activity?" the captain asked after hours of silence. "Nothing, sir," said the navigator. "No fleets, no patrols, no trade ships, just emptiness." The communications officer adjusted his headset. "The signal is faint, sir, but consistent. Definitely coming from the colony." The captain gave a slow nod. "Prepare for arrival. Full scan once we enter orbit." The crew obeyed, but whispers spread among them. Was this the last voyage they would ever take? When the colony finally came into sight, the bridge fell quiet. The planet was dark, patches of fire glowing on its surface. Orbital stations were in ruins, floating like broken bones in the void. The scan officer's voice shook. "Sir, life signs detected. They're weak, but there are survivors down there." The captain's jaw tightened. "Open a channel, broadcast to the colony." Static filled the speakers for a long moment before a shaky alien voice answered. Who are you?" "This is a human warship," the captain said firmly. "We received your distress call. We are here to help." On the other side, silence. Then a whisper, almost disbelieving. "Someone came. After so long." "Someone actually came?" "Yes," the captain replied. "You are not alone anymore." The crew felt a chill. For the survivors, hope had been nothing but a dream. And yet here they were. But before anyone could feel relief, alarms suddenly screamed across the bridge. "Multiple signatures incoming," shouted the sensor officer. "Ships dropping out of hyperspace." The view screen lit up as massive warships emerged, black and sharp, like predators in the dark. Their hulls glowed with red markings. Their weapons charged immediately. "Enemy fleet, sir." The captain's voice was steady. "Shields up, battle stations." The helmsman's eyes widened. "Captain, there are too many. We can't fight them all." "Maybe not," the captain said, his gaze locked on the enemy ships. "But we will fight anyway." The first volley struck. Explosions rocked the human ship, shaking the bridge. Sparks flew from panels, alarms blared. "Shields holding at 60%. Return fire," the captain ordered. Missiles launched, lasers fired. The human ship struck back with precision. A smaller enemy vessel exploded into debris, but more ships closed in. The communications officer gasped. "Sir, the survivors are watching from the surface. They can see the battle." "Then let them see," the captain said. His voice carried unshakable resolve. "Let them see humanity does not run." The alien survivors below stared at the skies, wide-eyed, as a single warship fought an entire fleet for them. Minutes felt like hours. The human ship groaned under heavy fire. Systems failed, one after another. The helmsman muttered, "We can't. It'll take much more of this." But then the captain's eyes narrowed. "Prepare the secondary cannon. Route all remaining power to it." The weapons officer hesitated. "Sir, if we fire that, shields will fail completely." The captain's voice was cold steel. "Do it!" The crew obeyed. Lights dimmed, consoles flickered. Power surged into the hidden weapon. "Target their battleship," the captain commanded. The massive cannon fired. A blinding beam tore across space and ripped through the enemy's largest ship. The battleship split in two, exploding into fire. The enemy fleet faltered. Their formation broke. For the first time, fear flickered in their movements. On the planet, survivors cheered, tears streaming down their faces. The enemy, shaken and bloodied, began to retreat. One by one, their warships pulled back into hyperspace, leaving behind burning wreckage. The human warship drifted in the aftermath, battered but alive. "Status?" the captain asked quietly. "Shields gone, engines damaged, but we're still here," replied the helmsman. The captain leaned back in his chair, his voice calm. "Good. That's enough." A faint voice came again through the comms. It was the alien leader, still trembling. You saved us." "Why?" No one else dared to answer. "Why would you risk everything?" The captain looked at his weary crew. Then he spoke, simple and firm. "Because we never ignore a call for help." The bridge went silent. The words hung heavy, true and undeniable. The camera of the universe seemed to pull back, showing the single human warship standing alone against the stars. One ship had answered. One ship had stood against the dark, and the galaxy would never forget. The battlefield was quiet now. Floating debris drifted slowly, glowing faintly from the last explosions. The human warship stood scarred and wounded, but still alive. Inside the bridge, the crew sat in silence, their faces pale but proud. They had fought and survived against impossible odds. The communications officer broke the silence. "Sir, the survivors on the planet are asking for contact." The captain nodded. "Put them through." A shaky alien voice filled the speakers. "We saw everything. You fought for us. You should not even be here, yet you stayed." The captain replied firmly, "You called for help. We came. That is enough." There was a pause. Then another. Alien voice joined in, softer, more emotional. "We thought no one cared. Our people begged for weeks. All we received was silence. Until now." The captain's gaze softened. "You're not alone anymore. Humanity keeps its word." The crew listened in silence, but deep inside, unease lingered. The enemy fleet had retreated, but why so quickly? Retreat was not mercy. It was strategy. Later, the ship descended carefully into orbit. From above, the colony looked broken, burned by endless attacks. Cities lay in ruins, farms were scorched, and thousands of homes were nothing more than ash. The survivors gathered at a makeshift landing site, their bodies thin and tired. Their eyes carried both fear and wonder as the human soldiers stepped out of their ship. A small alien child whispered, "They came. Real warriors came." The alien leader, old and frail, approached the human captain. His hands trembled as he spoke. "You saved us, but why would your people risk death for strangers?" The captain's answer was calm but strong. "Because if we do nothing, evil grows. And if we walk away, then who will stand against it?" The survivors lowered, their heads, some crying, some whispering prayers. For the first time in months, they felt hope. That night, as aid teams worked to give the survivors food and medicine, the crew gathered on the warship's bridge again. "Sir," the sensor officer said quietly, "we should not stay long. Our engines are damaged. If the enemy returns, we may not hold." The helmsman frowned. "I don't like it. That fleet pulled back too easily. It felt like they were testing us." The captain nodded. "You may be right, but leaving these people defenseless now is not an option." The crew knew the truth. They were one ship against an empire. Yet, not one of them spoke against the captain's decision. Hours passed in uneasy quiet. The colony slept under the broken sky, guarded by a single human warship. Then, without warning, alarms rang again. "Contact! Multiple signals approaching fast!" the sensor officer shouted. "It's them! Enemy reinforcements!" The bridge filled with tense silence. Dozens of enemy warships appeared on the screen, their numbers far greater than before. "Sir," the weapons officer whispered, "we can't fight this. Not with the damage we've taken." The captain's jaw tightened. "We will not abandon them. Prepare for combat." But then something unexpected happened. The enemy fleet stopped just beyond firing range. No weapons fired, no warnings. They simply hovered, blocking the sky. The crew exchanged nervous glances. "What are they waiting for?" the navigator asked. The captain narrowed his eyes. "They want us to see. They want to scare us before the killing blow." A deep voice crackled across the comms. It was the enemy commander. "Human vessel, you are brave, but foolish. This world belongs to us. You have one chance. Leave now, and we will let you live." The captain's voice was ice. "You destroyed their homes. You slaughtered their families. And now you demand surrender? Your courage means nothing," the enemy replied coldly. "You are one ship. We are many. Leave or be crushed." The bridge fell silent. Everyone waited for the captain's answer. Finally he spoke. "Then we fight." The crew prepared for battle, but inside they all knew the truth. Their ship was broken. Their weapons were weak. This could be the end. The alien survivors on the surface watched the skies in terror. Children clung to their parents. Old ones whispered, "It is over. No one can stop them now." But then something happened that no one expected. The sky lit up, not with enemy fire, but with new arrivals. Ships burst out of hyperspace, sleek and fast. Their hulls carried the human emblem. Reinforcements. The crew gasped. "It's our fleet." Dozens of human warships formed in tight formation, their weapons glowing bright. For the first time, the enemy hesitated. The enemy commander's voice broke through the comms again, but now with anger. "More humans! You dare send a fleet into our space?" The captain's voice was steady. "We do not abandon those who call for help, not one, not ever." "Then you will die together," the enemy snarled, but this time it was different. Humanity was not alone. The battle erupted in fire and chaos. Human and enemy ships clashed across the stars. Explosions tore through the void, lighting the dark sky like storms of fire. On the surface, survivors raised their eyes, watching as their saviors fought not with one ship, but with many. Their hearts filled with hope again. On the bridge of the first warship, the captain watched the fight unfold. His ship was too damaged to lead the charge, but he did not step back. "Send word to the fleet," he commanded. "Protect the colony at all costs." Human warships pushed forward, their guns tearing through enemy lines. Enemy ships fell one after another. The balance had changed. Humanity had arrived in force, and they fought with fury. The enemy commander realized too late. The retreat signal was given, and once again the hostile fleet pulled away, their pride broken. The battle ended with silence once more. The stars glowed with debris, but the colony was safe. The alien leader's voice returned over comms, trembling with emotion. "We thought no one would come, but you, your people. You stood for us when everyone else ran." The captain's reply was calm and firm. "This is only the beginning. Humanity answers when it is called, and we will not stop until the galaxy learns this truth." The crew watched him in silence, each of them knowing these words carried more than promise. They carried a warning. For the first time in history, the galaxy had seen the truth. Humanity was not just another race. They were protectors, and they were ready to fight for anyone who needed them. The survivors bowed their heads, whispering the same word again and again: hope. And above them, human ships stood guard, a shield in the darkness. The war was not over, but the galaxy had changed forever. The fires from the battle had faded, leaving the night sky calm again. Human ships drifted in formation above the ruined colony, their weapons still glowing from the fight. Below, survivors gathered together, staring at the stars with wide, hopeful eyes. For the first time in months, they were safe. On the bridge of the lead human warship, the crew worked quietly. Repairs were underway, reports were being written, but tension still hung in the air. Everyone knew this peace would not last. The communications officer broke the silence. "Sir, multiple colonies in nearby systems are also sending distress signals. They're begging for help." The captain stood still for a long moment. Then he said, "The enemy is spreading further than we thought. This is not just one attack. It's a campaign." The helmsman frowned. "If that's true, then the retreat was planned. They didn't lose. They were testing our strength." A heavy silence filled the room. The captain finally spoke. "Send word to the fleet. Humanity stands now, not later. We answer every call." Later, the alien leader of the colony was brought aboard the human warship. His skin was pale, his body thin from hunger, but his eyes burned with questions. He bowed low before the captain. "You risked everything for us, but you must know, this enemy will not stop. They are ruthless. They destroy worlds not for need, but for pride." The captain looked at him carefully. "Then tell me who they are. What drives them?" The alien leader's hands trembled. "They are called the Krail. For centuries they've spread like fire. They conquer, enslave, and burn. Many races joined them out of fear. The rest of us hide or die." The bridge crew listened quietly. The word Krail carried weight, like a shadow spreading across the galaxy. The captain's voice was calm but sharp. "And now they know us. They tested our strength. They will come again." The alien leader nodded slowly. "Yes. And when they return, they will bring not dozens, but hundreds." That night, the crew sat in the mess hall, speaking in hushed voices. "They'll come back stronger," one officer said. "Maybe we should pull back," another whispered. "Warn Earth. Prepare the whole fleet." But the helmsman shook his head. "If we leave, these people die. You saw it. The Krail don't leave survivors." The room fell quiet until the captain entered. He looked at his crew, his voice steady. "The galaxy has lived in fear of them for too long. Humanity does not fear. We stand where others fall. Remember that." Days passed and repairs continued. The colony slowly began to rebuild with human aid. Food was shared, shelters rebuilt, and for the first time, laughter returned to broken streets. But shadows lingered. Scouts reported strange movements near the system. Small Krail ships appeared and vanished quickly, as if watching from the dark. One evening, the alien leader approached. The captain again. His face was troubled. "I must warn you of something else. The Krail do not fight alone. They send spies. They whisper lies. They turn allies against each other before they strike." The captain narrowed his eyes. "You mean they will try to break us from the inside?" "Yes," the alien said. "They always do. That warning came true faster than expected. 2 nights later, alarms blared. A human patrol ship had vanished without a trace. No explosion, no distress call, just gone. The crew searched the dark skies for hours. Finally, they found the wreckage drifting cold. The hull had been torn apart, but not by weapons, by something else, something inside. On the bridge, the sensor officer whispered, "Sir, readings show no outside attack. The ship was destroyed from within." The crew exchanged fearful glances. "Sabotage," the captain said quietly. The word sent a chill through everyone. The next day, suspicion grew. Whispers spread among the survivors and even among the human crew. Had the Krail already placed spies among them? Could the enemy be hiding in plain sight? Tension cracked open when a human soldier accused one of the alien refugees of planting explosives. Shouting filled the air. Fear turned to anger. The captain stepped between them, his voice sharp as steel. "Enough! The Krail want us divided. We will not give them what they want." The soldier lowered his head in shame, but the unease remained. That night the captain stood alone on the observation deck, staring at the stars. The alien leader joined him quietly. "They will come soon," the alien said, "and they will come in numbers you cannot imagine." The captain did not look away from the stars. "Then let them come. We'll be ready." But inside, even he felt the weight of uncertainty. One warship could inspire hope, but against hundreds? Could humanity truly stand? The answer began the very next morning. Sensors picked up movement at the edge of the system. The crew rushed to their stations, fear twisting in their stomachs. "Sir, multiple signals," the officer shouted. "It's them, Krail ships, dozens of them." The captain's eyes hardened. "Battle stations, all ships prepare for engagement." But as the fleet appeared on the screen, something strange happened. The enemy ships didn't open fire. Instead, one massive warship moved forward, larger than any they had seen before. The comms filled with a deep, echoing voice. "Humans, you fight well. You are different from the weak races we crush. But hear this, you cannot protect them all. You are outnumbered, outmatched, and outlasted. Surrender now, and we may let some of you live." The bridge fell silent. The crew waited for the captain's response. He rose slowly from his chair, his voice calm but powerful. "We don't surrender. Not today, not ever." The enemy commander laughed coldly. "Then your end begins now." The Krail ships spread across the sky, forming a wall of steel and fire. Human warships formed their defense, shields glowing, weapons ready. On the planet, survivors prayed, knowing the storm was about to fall again. And in the center of it all, the captain stood firm, his crew ready at his side. The battle for the galaxy was no longer distant. It was here. It had begun, and no one could predict who would live to see the dawn. The black void burned with light as the Krail fleet spread across the sky, their warships forming a massive wall. Dozens of sharp, dark vessels glowed with red lines, their weapons charging. They looked like predators ready to strike. On the bridge of the human flagship, the crew prepared in silence. Fear gripped them, but they did not show it. "Enemy ships, 73 and counting," the sensor officer said, his voice shaking. "Their flagship is massive, twice the size of ours." The captain stood at the center, calm and unblinking. His voice cut through the tension. "All ships, prepare for engagement. We hold the line. No retreat." The crew responded with determination, even as doubt filled their eyes. They knew the odds. They knew this battle might be their last. The enemy made the first move. Red beams of fire tore through the void, crashing against human shields. Explosions rocked the fleet, one ship already breaking apart in flames. "Shields at 70%, the helmsman shouted. "Return fire," the captain ordered. Human warships fired back. Blue and white energy beams lit the dark sky, striking enemy hulls. 2 Krail ships exploded, their wreckage spinning into nothingness. But more came forward, fearless, relentless. The alien survivors on the planet watched from below, their hearts sinking. The sky looked like a storm of fire, and humanity stood at the center of it, fighting with everything they had. Minutes stretched into eternity. Human ships fell one by one, their deaths flashing like dying stars. The crew watched in horror as friends vanished in explosions. "Sir, we can't hold this," the weapons officer cried. The captain's voice stayed steady. "We hold as long as we must. Every second we fight gives the colony another chance." The crew obeyed. They fought on, their hands moving faster, their eyes locked on the chaos. Outside, then the enemy flagship moved closer. Its shadow dwarfed everything around it. "Sir, they're targeting us directly," the sensor officer warned. The Krail commander's voice boomed over the comms. "Human captain, you have fought bravely, but it ends now. Watch as your ship burns and your people learn fear." The crew froze, waiting for the captain's response. He leaned forward, his eyes cold as steel. "You've mistaken us. Humanity does not learn fear. We teach it." The order came quick. "Prepare the trap." The crew moved with urgency. A hidden plan, one they had trained for but never used, came alive. Small drones were launched into the field, scattering like sparks. At first, the Krail ignored them, laughing at the tiny machines. But then the drones linked together, forming a glowing net of energy. The weapons officer's voice rose with excitement. "Net complete! Enemy flagship caught!" The massive Krail vessel tried to move, but the net held tight, energy chains pulling. "Against its engines," the captain's voice thundered. "All ships, fire everything!" Beams of light tore into the flagship. Explosions rippled across its hull. Fire erupted from its sides. The Krail fleet screamed in confusion as their leader's ship burned. But victory came at a cost. The flagship's weapons fired blindly in rage. A blast struck the human fleet, tearing apart 3 ships in seconds. On the bridge, alarms screamed. "Direct hit! Hull breach on deck 3! The captain held steady, his voice firm. "Seal the breach! Keep firing!" The crew obeyed, even as the ship groaned under the strain. Smoke filled the bridge, sparks rained down. Yet still, they fought. Finally, the enemy flagship cracked apart, splitting into 2 massive halves that drifted into the void. The explosion lit the darkness brighter than a star. The Krail fleet faltered. Their formation broke. Panic spread. Among them, "They're retreating," the sensor officer shouted. "The fleet is pulling back." Cheers erupted across the bridge. The surviving human ships joined in, their comms filled with victory shouts. The colony below wept with relief. For the first time, the Krail had been beaten not by numbers, but by will. But the captain did not celebrate. His eyes stayed on the battlefield. "Hold fire! Watch them!" The crew fell quiet, confusion spreading. The sensor officer's face paled. "Sir, not all of them are leaving." On the screen, a group of smaller Krail ships remained. "They weren't fleeing, they were moving toward the planet. They're targeting the colony," the helmsman shouted. The captain's heart clenched. "The survivors, they weren't after the fleet, they were after the helpless people below. Divert power to engines," the captain ordered. "Get between them and the colony." The ship roared forward, pushing its broken frame harder than ever. Other human ships followed, forming a desperate shield above the planet. The Krail ships fired mercilessly. Explosions lit the sky. Human vessels burned, some falling into the atmosphere. "Shields failing!" the weapons officer yelled. "Hold!" the captain roared. "We do not let them through." The crew fought with every ounce of strength. Missiles launched, beams cut through space, and slowly, painfully, the last enemy ships fell. When it was over, silence returned again. The battlefield was littered with fire and debris, but the planet was safe. The crew sat in silence, exhausted and broken. Dozens of human ships were gone, hundreds of lives lost. Yet the colony still stood. The alien leader's voice came over the comms, thick with emotion. "You gave everything for us. So many of your own people died, and still you did not leave us." The captain closed his eyes, his voice heavy but firm. "This is the price of hope. and we will pay it as many times as we must." The alien leader whispered, "The galaxy will hear of this. They will know the humans did what no one else dared." The captain opened his eyes, staring into the endless stars. His voice was quiet, but every word carried power. "Let them hear. Let them remember. Humanity does not turn away." But deep inside, he knew this was not the end. The Krail had lost a battle, but they would return, stronger, hungrier, and furious for revenge. And when they did, humanity would need more than courage. They would need allies. The war had only begun. The battlefield was quiet again. Human ships floated among debris, their hulls scorched, shields flickering, and engines groaning. The survivors on the planet looked up at the sky, still shaken, but alive. Inside the human flagship, the crew moved with careful precision. Repairs continued, but tension filled every corner of the bridge. Everyone knew the Krail would return. And soon, the captain stood alone near the observation window, staring at the stars. The alien leader approached quietly, his voice hesitant. "You fought with incredible strength," the alien said. "I thought your people were like the others, weak, fragile, but you are something else." The captain did not turn. "We fight because we must, not for glory, not for pride. But if we do not, no one else will." The alien leader hesitated. "Yet your weapons, your strategy, it is terrifying. The Krail will remember this. They will fear you." The captain finally looked at him. "Good. Let them fear. Fear keeps the weak alive." That night the fleet gathered near the planet, preparing for what the captain called the next step. "Sir," the sensor officer said, "we've received intelligence about Krail movements. They are assembling a massive fleet near the outer rim. Estimates, hundreds of warships." The captain's jaw tightened. "And they think they can challenge us?" The helmsman shook his head. "Even with the fleet, they outnumber us 10-1. The captain's eyes narrowed. "Numbers mean nothing if your enemy underestimates you." He turned to the crew, his voice calm but firm. "Prepare the hidden weapon. Humanity has ways the Krail cannot imagine. They will see us not just as fighters, but as predators. We are Deathworlders. They will regret the day they came here." A quiet murmur ran through the crew. Few outside the human military had heard that term before. Deathworlders. It was a warning whispered across the galaxy, a reputation of humans surviving and thriving in impossible conditions, capable of turning any disadvantage into a weapon. The following day, the Krail fleet appeared on sensors. Massive and threatening, yet as the human ships engaged, they did not expect the trap waiting for them. The captain gave the order. "Activate the field arrays, deploy drones, let them see humanity's true face." Drones, sleek and metallic, shot into the void, invisible until they linked together into grids of energy. The Krail ships tried to maneuver, but each movement triggered counterattacks, beam strikes, energy nets, and explosive charges. One Krail ship, the largest in the forward squadron, froze as the drones surrounded it. Its shields flared and faltered. The Krail commander's voice echoed across comms, furious. What is this? This is not a normal human ship. Retreat! Retreat now!" But retreat was impossible. The human ships pressed forward. Energy. Beams tore through enemy hulls, missiles tore apart formations, and the sky above the colony became a blazing storm of fire and light. From the planet, the survivors watched in awe. The humans fought with precision, but there was something more, something terrifying in the way they moved, coordinated, and struck. The captain's orders were silent yet deadly. A young alien scientist whispered to an elder nearby, "I have never seen such control, such killing efficiency. It is beautiful and horrifying." The elder shook his head. "It is not." Beauty, it is fear. Humans are not like us. They survive where others die. They are death-worlders. The scientist's eyes widened. Death-worlders? Yes, the elder replied. They are called that for a reason. Planets that should kill them, they conquer. Enemies that should overwhelm them, they destroy. They are the nightmare of the galaxy. Inside the flagship, the captain watched the largest Krail warship falter. It was massive, almost unbeatable, but the hidden strategy worked. Target. Their engines, he ordered. We break their mobility. Do not let them escape. The weapons officer's fingers flew over the controls. Engines hit, sir. They're burning from within. The Krail flagship screamed across space as explosions tore through its hull. Smaller ships panicked, forming haphazard patterns. The fleet's fear spread like wildfire. The alien leader's voice came over comms again, trembling with awe. Your people are monsters, and yet they fight for us. The captain did not respond immediately. Then, calmly, he said, Monsters, perhaps, but we are also protectors. Humanity survives where others fall. We will not abandon those who call for help. The battle raged, but slowly the Krail fleet began to retreat. Ships turned back, engines smoking, formation broken. On the planet, survivors cheered and wept. They had never seen such power, never imagined that help could come in this way. But the captain's face was unreadable. He watched the retreating enemy with quiet calculation. Sir, the helmsman said, hesitant, they are running. But do you think they will come back? The captain's eyes were cold, steady. Yes, they will. But now they know the truth. Humans are not weak. Humans do not surrender. And humans do not forgive easily. The alien leader bowed, his voice low. The galaxy will remember this. Your people, they are beyond anything we imagined. The captain finally smiled faintly, almost a shadow of humor. Let them remember, let them fear, and let them know we answer every call. No one is safe from what happens if they harm the helpless. As the fleet regrouped, repairs continued. The human ships were battered, but morale soared. They had shown the galaxy something it had never seen. Humans could fight alone, survive the impossible, and leave enemies trembling. From the observation deck, the captain looked at the stars. Somewhere beyond, the Krail were regrouping, planning revenge. Yet the humans were ready, he whispered quietly, mostly to himself. The galaxy has seen what humanity is capable of. Let the next lesson begin. And in the silence of the void, one thing was clear. The legend of the Death Worlders had begun. The stars stretched endlessly around the battered human fleet. Smoke and debris floated silently in the void, remnants of the Krail assault. Yet, the colony below remained untouched, the survivors looking up at the sky in awe. Humanity had stood its ground. On the bridge of the flagship, the crew moved with quiet purpose. Repairs continued, engines hummed back to life, and shields glowed faintly once more. Every officer knew the cost. Ships lost, comrades gone. But pride and relief filled the room. The captain walked to the observation window, staring at the distant stars. His voice was calm but firm. We have won this battle, but the war is far from over. The Krail will regroup. They always do. The alien leader, still aboard the flagship, bowed respectfully. Your people, you risked everything. You fought like monsters, yet for us. We will never forget this day. The captain nodded slowly. We did what we had to. Protecting the helpless is the duty of those who can fight. That is humanity. Below, the survivors were beginning to rebuild. Fires were extinguished, shelters repaired, and for the first time in months, laughter returned to broken streets. Children played among the ruins, while adults worked tirelessly, inspired by the humans who had saved them. A young alien boy tugged on his father's sleeve. Father, will they stay? The elder shook his head slowly. No, they are warriors, not settlers. But they will be watching. Always. The boy's eyes widened. They are heroes. The elder whispered, they are something more. They are humans, Deathworlders, a name that carries both hope and fear across the galaxy. On the flagship, the crew gathered in the mess hall, weary but alive. Sir, the helmsman said, our fleet is battered. Casualties are high. Many won't make it home. The captain's expression was somber. I know, but every life lost here saved hundreds, maybe thousands. We pay the price for hope. The communications officer spoke quietly, his hands trembling. Do you think the Kryll will come back? With more ships? The captain's eyes hardened. Yes, they will return, but now they know humanity is not easy prey. We fight and we survive, and we make sure they remember it. Hours later, as repairs continued, the alien leader approached the captain with concern. Sir, there is something you must know. Other races watching from afar are frightened. Some may come to challenge you, seeing your power as a threat. Alliances will shift. They may strike while you are busy with the Kryll. The captain's gaze remained steady on the stars. Then let them come. Let them see the cost of underestimating humanity. We do not start wars, but we end them for those who cannot fight. The alien leader's voice trembled slightly. You are not just warriors. You are legends. And yet, I fear what your enemies may do when they realize this. The captain finally turned, his eyes cold but steady. Fear is a weapon. Let them fear. Let them remember. Suddenly, alarms blared across the flagship. The sensor officer shouted, "Incoming signature! Unknown vessel approaching at high speed!" The crew scrambled to their stations, every eye turned to the screen, tension gripping every muscle. Sir, it's too fast for normal warp. Could be a scout or something else, the helmsman said. The captain's jaw tightened. Prepare defenses. We do not underestimate anything, not anymore. On the screen, a sleek vessel emerged from the void. Its hull was black, almost invisible, but its silhouette radiated power. The alien leader gasped. That is not Kryll. It is something older, something darker. The captain's eyes narrowed. Then let's find out what it wants. A voice filled the comms. Deep and resonant, unlike the Kryll. Humans, you fight well. You save those who cannot defend themselves. But beware. The galaxy is vast, and not all who watch are kind. The bridge fell silent. The weight of the unknown pressed down. The captain's voice broke the tension. We do not run from what we do not know. We meet it. We face it. And we survive. Always. Below, on the planet, survivors gazed upward. The alien leader whispered to them, voice trembling, "This is not over. Humanity has won today, but the galaxy is watching now." The young boy looked at the sky. Awe and fear mingled in his eyes. They will come back? The elder placed a hand on his shoulder. Yes, and when they do, humanity will. Be ready, always. The captain turned to his crew, his voice quiet but powerful. We fight for those who cannot. We answer the call. We endure and we survive. Humanity is not just a race, it is a promise. A promise that no one will ever be left alone. The crew nodded silently, understanding more than words could convey. They were part of something greater now, part of a legacy that would echo across the stars. The alien leader bowed one last time. You have changed the galaxy today. It will never be the same again. The captain's gaze returned to the stars. Let it not forget, let it fear, but let it also know. Help can come when it is needed most. Humanity never ignores a call. The stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the battles fought, the lives saved, and the warning sent. Somewhere in the galaxy, enemies would remember, allies would hope, and humans would endure. And as the human fleet stood guard, above the colony, the faint glimmer of unknown vessels appeared on the edges of the sensor grid. The war was not over, But humanity had shown the galaxy its truth, and the next chapter had already begun.